Review of Lego Ninjago by DeCool. I think these are a little bit older because they follow the original format of the boxes, and all of these are based on the Lego Ninjago movie. Apart from Sensei Wu, all the other people are villains. We've got Hammerhead, we got a Great White Shark, and we have 3 versions of Garmadon, just called Garmadon, and we have Sensei Wu at the end. So this is like Garmadon early, when he's still like a youngin', and then there's him and his sort of more iconic look, where he is the big villain, and here's him out in the woods kind of look. The right hand side of the box actually extends the image to also showcase this dragon that you can build with all of the sets put together. Side of the box shows the 1:1 scale of some of the figures. The taller Garmadon ones are shrunk just a little bit to fit into the box art. Back of the box shows you all the accessories and items you get in here, and says, hey, you can assemble this dragon, but if you don't have all the sets, you can build some of these tiny little things that look kind of crappy. Since you can build stuff in here, you of course have the instruction sheets inside. On the top left corner there, you have pretty much the box art just shrunk down in here, and the orange area is the building guide if you only have this one set. So all of them have a different one. And finally, underneath that, you get the blue instructions, and on the other side of the sheet, you get the rest of the blue instructions, which shows you how to build the dragon. Dragon itself is designed okay. His palms and legs, feet do look a little bit too big because the head's so tiny, but the whole thing comes together pretty well. You got all these little board joints in different areas, so all the arms and legs are all the little board joints apart from that one there, and that means there's a lot of articulation that you do. You can bend his tail around, has his head turn, and all sorts. He doesn't have any studs on top of his body, so you can't really have a Ninjago character stand on him, but he's got a lot of movement, twisting him around, and you got a few pieces popping off, but overall the thing does stay together pretty well, so kudos to that. It's not a bad thing. Aesthetic wise it's kind of meh, but build quality is pretty decent. So if you want a golden-ish dragon, then hooray! Okay, so figure wise, all of them have the standard minifigure plate that DeCool has always packaged with their figures. Sensei Wu has a staff, and he does have a fabric-y thing right there for his leg cloth piece. The fish soldiers, one of them has a hammer attached to a fish, one of them has a drill. Casual Garmadon has a camera and a little picture that has the volcanic layer with a picket fence around it. That's like his home or something. The other two Garmadon both have silver katana swords. One of them has a giant axe thing here that you build with staff, and this one has a standard sort of magical staff with a purple gem on the end, and he has this fabric-y piece on front and back, and he has this little sort of jungle side, what do you call these, shoulder cloth pieces. So the basic quality is consistent with previous DeCool stuff. It feels good to mess around in the hand, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart anytime soon. Clutch is also okay on the figure, but they don't want to stay too attached to the Lego studs too. And you see this one's coming off very easily, and so the other ones. And the biggest clutch issue with these figures, this one here, this figure here, his arm is very loose. You can see it will fall down on its own, so he's not going to be using that to hold on to the camera or anything. Going to have to use the other arm, and that's about it really. All the other clutch seems to be okay. Print quality on their helmets and man, you see these two guys actually printed pretty decently, and the hats here are all molded just like the original. They didn't try to cheap out and use the same molds just in different colors to just cheap out, not using unique molds, so that's pretty good. And these shark helmet things are all pretty nicely done. Just before I move on to the actual print quality of the figures, these two have these little backpacky thingies, and the fabric pieces on these characters are decent. This one here took a little bit time to fold it yourself before, because it comes in the packet in a flat piece, and you have to pre-fold it before attaching it to the figure, or else it'll just keep springing upwards and get a little bit annoying. This fabric here is also printed pretty nicely, pretty detailed, and the fabric is somewhere in between new and old Lego fabrics, where it's not too soft, not too hard. As for Sensei Wu's fabric, that's printed very nicely, goes all the way around, but it's you see it doesn't cover his butt, or you see over here it opens up quite easily, so it does show off a lot of the legs, so it's not ideal. Sensei Rule doesn't have any extra printing underneath the legs, so I'm just going to leave that on. The feet print and the torso print are pretty sharp, pretty nice, and they line up a little bit off from the cloth, so that's a little bit annoying. The face print, however, is pretty decent. Gamadon here is also printed very nicely. The face print, both of these have different facial expressions, so that's good. You get both of that in this one set. So that's pretty good as well. And the print here looks very simple, looks kind of fake, but that's how the official one looks as well. So the official one is kind of sucky. However, there's a few hairline scratch mark on there. It's missing a bit of paint. That's a little bit annoying. And finally, the two shark soldiers, they're all printed very well. Very sharp, very detailed. So the faces, they look like they probably are quite accurate compared to the original. And just quick look at the back there. Sensei Ru's logo on his top is very sharp, printed very fine. The back of Gamadon's are the same, and the two soldier back printings are also very decent as well. And there seems to be no issue with any of the metallic printing, which is usually the first place where bootlegs smudge their prints, but it seems to have done a pretty decent job here. A lot of the other bootlegs seem to only focusing on the actual ninja characters. What we have here is actually a pretty nice thing to have. Yeah, being able to have some of the extra villains or extra side characters is good. If you only pick up some of the other bootlegs, this will be a nice complement to that. The buildable dragon is okay. If you like the look of it, yay, but I don't care for it too much. The pieces seem okay as well, but I'm not sure if I can build anything else out of it. There's quite a limited range of different shapes and pieces, so can't really do too much with that. The figures themselves are copied very closely to the original Lego figures, so if you don't have any of those, or some of these figures are in bigger sets that you can't afford, then this is also a pretty nice thing to pick up as well. As always with DeCool bootlegs, the shoulders are sharper compared to other ones, so be a little bit careful there, and they are compatible with original Lego torso and pieces. Just the clutch isn't that ideal. So if you like Ninjago and can't get the expensive stuff, then this is a pretty good set to pick up. Subscribe, suggest, and comment below in the comments. Take care and have a nice day. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye now.